I've never had like a day for uploads or a time or anything.
That is crazy, dude.
I also rarely look at analytics. They really bum me out.
Oh, really? Yeah. How are you getting back up to 10 million subs from 0?
Would you take advantage of short form?
I don't think so.
Welcome back to the Blueprint Podcast. Today we have a very special guest, a YouTube legend, a slow-mo master, a Rooster Teeth legend, Mr. Gavin Free.
Hello. Thanks for having me. That was the best intro I've ever had.
Really?
Yeah.
I was hoping we would have a big cannon and like a big camera come in and
Confetti cannon.
But unfortunately, we're just here.
Budget cuts.
No, but seriously, thank you so much for coming out.
No worries.
It means a lot. I've been watching your videos for years and years. I know Cedric.
I got to fan out a little bit. I've been watching you since probably middle school. Like every day I'd come home from school, see a Rooster Teeth video pop up. I'm like, let's
See all
go.
this gray hair? Yeah, that's your fault for saying stuff like that. No, I really appreciate it. That means a lot.
No, seriously, like I think you've done a really good job and kind of like shaped the YouTube ecosystem, whether you think about it or not. But it inspired me to make content as well. So thank you.
It's gonna be awesome, but
Really
no
appreciate
pressure.
it.
I wanted to get into, this is a question I'd love to ask people, but if YouTube was building a Mount Rushmore and you get to choose 4 YouTubers or YouTube channels that have influenced you the most, who are you going to put on there?
Oh, such a good question.
Choose wisely.
I'd probably put FPS Russia up on there.
Ooh,
Ooh.
okay.
yeah.
That's good.
Just because of the whole, like, I guess just like getting a ton of stuff to see what happens sort of thing is,
Yeah.
I think was pretty well pioneered by him. Who else was there? Should I look at my subscriptions?
Yeah, go for it. Do whatever you need to do.
Because a lot of people, I would say maybe like Freddie W as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rocket Jump.
Rocket jump.
There's all these people, well, like when I think back to when I first started, all the people in like the top 5,
Yeah.
and I just don't, they're just not doing
They're
it
not
anymore.
clicking,
Well, they've moved on beyond YouTube.
which is
typically.
crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of old people on YouTube that doesn't make content anymore. I remember when I was growing up, before I was even a YouTuber, watching them.
Watching Freddie W, FPS Russia. Yeah.
Maybe Harley, Epic Mealtime.
Oh,
would be up
okay.
there.
Okay. One more.
One more. Justine.
Oh,
Mm.
I literally just met her the other day.
She's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's really cool.
Just
That's
one of
a
those
good list.
Out of those people, I could probably fill like the entire Cliffside. They would just keep at it. It's just really who just came to the top of my mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's some. I think Justine's a good one because she's still going.
Yeah. Yeah. I was actually at her house the other day and got to look at like her studio, and she's like cranking videos out.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
Shooting more than ever.
Are you shooting more than ever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
hmm
How often do you post?
I mean, historically, I've done one a month,
One a month?
but I'm trying to do 2 or 3 a month now.
And how does that process work? Is it literally just you?
Well, I'll fly Dan over.
Okay.
And then until recently, I didn't actually own Phantoms. I would just rent them or borrow them. But I now own 2 Phantoms, which has made it a lot easier to not have to have a bunch of planets aligned to make a specific video. Like we did a video with Kentucky Ballistics where I rented a camera, I flew Dan in, we had to go to Kentucky, and the weather had to be good, like all at the same time for the videos to work out. And like trying to get hold of this specific camera was a nightmare. But now I have it. It's way easier just to get the exact results we want.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the time, if I rented the camera for a specific window and the weather was bad, it'd be like, we have to make the video anyway, and it would just come out, with like low light, and it wouldn't be great. But just having that control has been really good.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, that's very interesting because your channel is just so different from when most people think of a YouTuber. I feel like you have tech YouTubers, you have challenge YouTubers, you have all these different types of creators, but there's really not many people that make content like you guys, I would say.
I look at, because I've really not changed too much about like the style of the way we present the videos. So like looking at them now, they feel so dated. It's like we just open up and it's just 2 idiots standing there being like, hello. It's like proper old school intro and outro. And I feel like nowadays YouTube really favors the people who is like, like you guys, and like something blows up within the first minute of the video, and it's like we're right into it. Like I was talking to the How Ridiculous guys recently about that, and I just still edit my stuff the same way I always have, and I'm sure it's detrimental, but I think people are quite, just because we've been going so long, I think they're quite comforted by the just consistent style.
Yeah.
Oh, I would also put Captain Disillusion on the Mount Rushmore. Like if you look at his like a video he makes now, and then look at his first video, it's like identical in style. It might be the most consistent YouTube channel on the whole platform.
Wow.
Like from day one, it's just like that style in that way, and it's like, how have you kept that up for so long? It's really impressive to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it's like, I think you're able to do that though, because like a lot of creators like me, we rely on a lot of really unique ideas to go viral, whereas your entire channel kind of goes viral because the idea of filming things in slow motion is just so cool. And it almost, I mean, it does matter what you film in slow motion because there's certain things like a bullet that's way cooler than, you know, an apple falling from a tree, right? But like the idea of it just being in slow motion is just so cool. And you're able to capture things that, you know, the human eye couldn't see. So it's like you're showing footage for the first time that's almost like a history lesson, I feel like, you know?
I think that's why I still like doing it, is that I never had the intent to be a YouTuber. I didn't really care about the platform. I just really like slow-mo. Like, honestly, I mean, it really excited me my whole life. I've been doing it for almost 20 years. And every time we like play back the Phantom, I'm always just like, oh, that's sick. I like that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm excited.
That's
to put
like
it up.
how we reacted today.
Which is why I've never been like too focused on thumbnails or titles or trying to stay modern or do trends. I'm genuinely still just trying to film things that I find interesting in slow-mo. So it's kind of like a content first approach.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm definitely not like playing the YouTube game ever, and it's damaging to the views, but I think
admire
it's
it.
it's why I'm still doing it.
Yeah, I admire it completely. I think like chasing the beastification stuff, it's hard, but I really respect how easy it is for you kind of just get like a screen grab and use that as a thumbnail, put some text over it, really simple editing. Like you've consistently done the same style for 13 years. And
I actually do like scrolling back through my videos sometimes and just being like, these are just like pictures.
yeah,
And there's no way of really telling what era it's from. Whereas on another channel, you might see like, oh, here's when everyone had borders.
yeah,
Or here's when everyone was photoshopping the play button onto the middle of the thumbnail. And it's just like, oh yeah, I remember all those times. And it's just, you scroll through, it's like, you can see different eras scrolling by. And I think that's really funny. But yeah, mine are mainly just like a picture with no
you have like a
text.
time capsule of content. It's really,
Yeah.
really cool.
But I think that works for you too, because you're highlighting the best moment of that video. Like I almost like if I had to think of what would a thumbnail for a slow-mo video be, I can't really think of one other than a screen grab.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah, I would say 98% are just like a screenshot from the Phantom. But it does mean that, like, I do keep that in mind. Like, sometimes I'll have an idea and I'll be like, oh, I'm really interested to see what that would look like. But I don't know what the thumbnail would be or the title. And I'm just like, and it ends up getting like put on the back burner. When I think in reality, especially now that I'm uploading more often, I just want to keep making those. Even if it's a rubbish title that's not really relatable and not very clickable, I still think it's important for me to make them. So I'm actually going to just do those. And if people say it's like a bit of a crap one, I'll just be like, oh, well, there might be a good one next week.
yeah. That was actually one of my questions. Is there like a certain like deciding factor that you have when you think of ideas? Like when you think of ideas or you think of things to put in slow motion, I know you're probably considering what it would look like in slow motion, but is there like something you think about that's like, no, I'm not going to do this idea? Is it the title and thumbnail kind of thing, or
Like when I don't do it?
yeah, like
Like when
what
scrap
makes
a
you
video.
yeah, like what makes you decline an idea or scrap it or
A lot of the time, if it's like too overcomplicated, like sometimes I'll just think like, what's the point in doing that though? Like if it's too similar to something I've done, or if I'm not actually going to learn something, or if it's going to be just too expensive. I feel like there's a ton of reasons I don't film something. But also we do test footage of things. Like sometimes we'll like pre-test a video to see if it's going to be worthwhile. Because a lot of the time, I just have absolutely no idea what it's going to look like.
like especially doing stuff with electricity, where I'm like, does my camera is it even fast enough for that? And then we'll like do a little test. It's like, oh, actually, yeah, we could do one around that. Yeah, I'd say we film most of our ideas, or at least try to.
Yeah.
And is it just like a random thought? You're just chilling in the kitchen one day. You're like, this would be cool in slow-mo. Just something just pops in your brain. You're like,
Yeah, I've fully broken my brain to just like think all the time like
You
that.
think
Like in the
in
shower,
slow-mo.
or like I used to do a thing as a kid where I would like close my eyes and I would have like a freeze frame of the last thing I saw. And I'd be like, oh, that might look cool. So like before I had a Phantom to test stuff with, I would just be like, I just like throw a spoon in a bowl in the sink and I'd just like freeze frame the splash. I'd be like, oh, that'd be
your
But,
brain's a
That's
phantom
fascinating.
camera.
Yeah, I kind of want to back up, like, because you say you don't even care about YouTube. You're just so obsessed with slow motion. Like, how did that start? Like, where did that begin?
I don't really know. I used to have a VCR with one of those jog wheels on it. You might just too young for VCR.
I didn't want to say anything.
Yeah, but the remote had like an actual mechanical wheel, so you could like pause the video, the VHS, and just like roll the thing, and it would go, and it would like advance by frame. And I'd always do that on explosions and stuff.
Yeah.
I've got more gray hairs, by the way. Just yeah, and then I just started learning about high speed, and I got into the industry at a time where high speed film was becoming way too expensive and getting phased out for high speed video. So I was able to use some of the early Phantoms, and I did that in the film industry for a bit.
What was your first high speed like project you worked on?
I mean, the first thing I ever filmed with a Phantom was just like goofing around in my friend's backyard with like balloons and stuff. But the first real project was probably some commercial. I could probably look it up. But yeah, I probably worked on over 200 commercials, I think.
Wow.
But it was nice to finally just be like, oh, I'm just going to use Phantoms for my stuff. Because I would always be thinking of like things I wanted to film. But obviously on a commercial, you're filming what the director wants you to film.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a super cool moment where I was just like, oh, wow, I have my own camera and I can just try whatever I want.
Yeah. And just put a giant balloon in front of it.
Yeah.
And
I think that's why the channel originally took off, is because the cameras are so hard to get hold of at the time. They're very expensive, not accessible to like two early 20s fools that we were back then. So yeah, we were able to show slow-mo wasn't new at all. It's been around for decades, but no one was like doing really goofy stuff with it,
Yeah.
yeah.
at least outside of like a commercial environment.
Yeah, because I mean, you guys, I mean, the idea for the channel was so smart because y'all took something that everyone was familiar with. Like everyone's familiar with slow motion. It's not
Yeah.
like it wasn't like a crazy thing that no one's seen before, but it was used in more of a professional setting.
Yeah, it was pretty seriously a lot.
Yeah, it was always used in a very serious setting, and y'all took it and y'all put a giant balloon in front of it and popped it, and like
Well, you just had
Yeah.
fun with it. And I
You
think
know,
that
just had-
translates.
And I was very inspired by Mythbusters too, and like having people a part of it. That's why we called it Slow Mo Guys instead of Slow Mo Show or something. We wanted it to be like about us doing slow mo, and also keep it as wide as possible. So
Yeah.
you can film anything in slow mo. There are some other slow mo channels who have like slightly tighter areas of focus, like just bullets or just science or something. But we really don't have any limit on it at all. It's like whatever we can think of
yeah,
is fine for slow mo.
That is super cool.
You've gone from shooting in your backyard to feature films like Sherlock Holmes. What
Yeah.
would you tell hobbyists that kind of want to break into the industry? What kind of words of advice do you have for them?
So I was quite lucky in that I was able to find someone nearby who owned Phantoms. So I was like inquiring, and I found out through friends. But yeah, I would just like do tons of research. Like if the thing that you want to do isn't something accessible, just find out how to get it, and then like try and steer a bunch of decisions towards that. Even if it's like really tiny ways, like, oh, I'll just send a bunch of emails or something. Like
Yeah.
just steer everything towards the goal, and you might get closer to it.
Yeah, I think if you truly want something, you'll do whatever it takes to kind of reach that goal.
Yeah. And the whole reason I started my channel was actually to get a visa to work in the US, because I didn't have a degree, so I had to be someone of importance in my field. And the field I was in was slow-mo. So I was like, oh, if I can get a name for myself doing that, maybe I'll qualify for this visa. And that's why I started the channel, is because I need like slow-mo to be associated with my name, so that I'm someone of importance to the U.S. government, even though it sounds like really like you really have to like brag about yourself. And I'm just
Somewhat
like,
of importance. And then that video was the giant 6-foot water balloon.
yeah,
that
that was
got
the one that
millions
took
of
off.
views.
Like everyone has that first video where it's like, I feel like a lot of channels they'll get a hit and it sends them on a path, and they'll just get another one. I've still never had a video do as well as that first
Water
hit
balloon
that I
one.
had. Yeah, I was getting like maybe around that time 20,000 views a video, and I've been doing it for like 8 months, and then that video immediately got millions of views in days, and I was just like, what is happening?
You've been doing YouTube for 8 months, getting 20,000 views a video. I feel like that's pretty good for old YouTube days.
Yeah, well, I used the like the forums that I was a part of
okay.
at the time to promote them. So I was like on a few message boards, and I was like, hey, I'm starting this new thing. So I was able to just like
see.
send a few people, which got like the base going. But I know like you were telling me you took you ages.
Yeah.
Like you really put in the time
Yeah, it
before
was
you
a
had one
grind.
hit.
Yeah.
Did you, and I assume you wanted to give up at some point. Or did you just plow through and keep
yes and no. I mean, I had my days, right? So like for context, like it took me like 500. I don't remember the exact number, but it's somewhere in between 570 to 600 videos to get my first video to hit 1 million views, which I think that was a probably like 3 to 4 years of work consistently uploading every single week, every other day, kind of whenever I could. I was still in school at the time, so it was, juggling all that. But yeah, I mean, I think what really helped me is kind of like going back to what you were saying. You were just so passionate about slow-mo, right? I was just so passionate about creating something. Like when I was a kid, I was just like addicted to taking things apart and rebuilding them. I just loved making things. And the idea of creating a video and sharing it online for an audience to see was just like the coolest thing to me. Now I know obviously movies existed, but I feel like you didn't really get that a kid can't make a movie. Like that's really hard, but a kid could go and make a YouTube video. And that was like the most exciting thing for me. So once I started posting, I think my passion grew for making videos as I made more and more videos. So like my first 10 videos was really just me like kind of messing around and filming Minecraft and what I enjoy. And then after that, I started taking it more seriously, and I was like, oh, this could be something legit, But my passion just grew stronger and stronger, and I was so deep in it at that point. Let's say I was on upload 430, right? Like still haven't hit a video that's got 1 million views, but I'm so far in. I'm like, why would I stop now?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like it would be stupid for me to stop now. Like I've already uploaded 430 videos. Like, I'm getting a decent amount of growth. I think by that period, I was probably like just at about 100,000, maybe 150,000 subscribers. So it's like something's working, right? So just kept
And it's
pushing
clearly
it
satisfying you at your core. And I think you hit the nail on the head. The same for me is that it is like an addiction in a way. Like I am genuinely addicted to making content, and I think just showing people stuff. Like that's what I like about the slow-mo. It's like, hey, that thing that like that you've seen? How about like seeing it like this? And then everyone's just like, what? It's like I have an ability via this amazing equipment and technology to just show people stuff, and that's what I'm addicted to, I think. So even if the channel didn't take off and I didn't get the visa, I would have still made stuff. It might not have been slow-mo. I might not have had the access that I have.
Yeah.
But I've always been filming stuff on camcorders my whole life.
Yeah. That's the same with me. I think my first year of making content, I think my first year I uploaded around 100 videos. My first year on YouTube, I didn't even know you could make money. Like I didn't even know it was a thing. And then I figured out you could make money, and I was like, oh, it's game time now. Like, let's see.
Yeah. Yeah, to me, money was like not even a part of the decision at any point.
Yeah. Especially when I started. Yeah. It was just like, I'm just doing this for fun. Like, this is so much fun.
That's where you'll find the most successful creators, I feel like. People who just have the passion for it. Instead of just kind of having that money drive, like they really just wanted to make videos.
Yeah. Well, I think people with the money drive aren't going to make it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like, I think just like they're going to upload 200 videos and each one's going to get, 32 views, and they're going to be like,
yeah, I'm out.
Yeah.
I think I'm also, the reason I didn't go for money, like I've always kept my uploads pretty sparse, like only putting up stuff that I like, not shooting a ton, like not going crazy, because A, it wasn't about the money for me, and B, I was really worried about if I would try and one-up myself too quickly, I'm eventually just going to burn out or like not be able to think of stuff. So I would just, by spreading it out more and not necessarily messaging the audience being like, we're going to keep getting better all the time. Like sometimes we'll go on a high budget video and then I'll be, back in the studio just doing something macro that's tiny and like doesn't cost any money. And just being able to bounce back and forth between different budget levels has been really helpful. I think that's helped the longevity of the channel for me.
Yeah, we've done that a lot as well. Like we've had we have videos like the one that you're a part of right now. This is a really expensive video. We've been filming it for 3 to 4 days, a couple months of planning. For context, for people listening to the podcast, it's this Lego video. We have like hundreds of thousands of Lego pieces and all of these builds, and we're basically simulating all these disasters. And Gavin's here to film some slow motion of a volcano exploding. It's going to be really, really cool. But for example, this video is a very, very expensive video. I think probably close to 6 figures, like what we spent on just this one video. But then we have a video like that we filmed like a couple weeks ago that was like nothing. It was just like nothing. Like
I often just think like my most successful video was the giant balloon one, and the budget on that was like the like a $20 balloon.
Yeah,
and I just feel like if I keep that at my core, it's like
$20 balloon. How many views did that video get?
Like 190 something million.
Oh my!
Yeah,
like that one just went straight to viral heaven. But that's what I really like about YouTube is that you can watch different channels, and even within the same channel, you can watch videos just being like, I have no idea what the budget is on this. You have no idea from like pressing start the first 5 seconds. It's like it could go one of two ways.
Yeah.
Like I was watching a video from Stand Up Maths. I'm not sure if you've ever seen that channel, but he was talking about some like mathematical thing, and he's like, and then he started talking about a helicopter. He's like, yeah, and I wonder if this was happening. And then it just hard cuts to him in a helicopter being like, so I rented a helicopter. And I was like, well, that took a right turn. But based on the beginning, it was just him sat at a table. And I just love that there's that unknown on YouTube, which is like, how jank is this video going to be? Or how like polished it will be?
Yeah.
You never truly know, even within someone's own library.
Yeah.
And quite nice.
I think that's kind of what your channel thrives on, that unknown curiosity.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see what this bullet looks like in slow-mo. I want to see what this looks like. Like, because I mean, like, I've watched a ton of your videos, like, growing up, and every single one that I clicked on, and I do kind of, now that you mentioned Mythbusters, I do kind of, does kind of feel like Mythbusters now that I think about it, because I love Mythbusters as a kid. But every single episode I click on, it's because I'm curious.
Mm-hmm.
It's because I'm like, what actually does that look like in slow-mo? Like, I have no idea. Or like I remember the one you guys did where like a bullet was coming out of a gun. I was like, that, like, I feel like that's something that no one's seen before. Like, I have to see this because that seems really, really cool. But
yeah, and I'm really thankful to be at this point where technology is so good that I can film stuff that I couldn't film a decade ago, and I can film it like really slow now. So I'm just like reinvigorated on things that maybe I even tried filming in the past, and it was just like, well, that was clearly not slow enough, and now it's slow enough, and it's like a whole new level of curiosity, even for the audience who have potentially already seen my older version of that video, and are like, well, now what does it look like?
Yeah, that's kind of a good advantage because you'll have a really old video. You're like, I could do this again with better technology,
Yeah,
and still probably get the same amount of views. So that's a life hack. You got a life hack going on.
yeah, and thankfully because we don't film all the time. Like I have another job, and Dan lives in England, so we're not always together. There's plenty of time in between to come up with ideas and even like throw away some crappier ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So we're still currently like generating ideas faster than we film them, which I'm thankful for as well.
When you and Dan are together, and for preface, Dan is your co-host of the Slow-Mo Guys.
Other slow-mo guy.
The other Slow-Mo guy. Whenever you two are together, how many videos are you guys filming?
I would say it used to be more per trip. Like I could fly him over and we maybe get 10 videos.
Oh, wow.
Now it's like I'd be happy with 4
Okay.
because we spend a little bit more time on them, and because we're so far ahead in what we've shot. I was telling you this before. I can like, if I'm editing a video and it's not great, like clearly we were sacrificing frame rate for the weather, or something happened, we had like one go at something and we blew it. We could just go and add to the video. It's like sometimes Dan will come back again months later and we'll just go and like do a pickup on that same video, and then it becomes a good video. and I just like cutting back and forth between like sometimes like 8 months in the future and then back to the past, and like no one seems
No
to
one
notice.
notices. Wow, now I got to go back and
You'll
look.
have like completely different haircuts.
Yeah.
Beard
Sometimes if
shaved.
it's obvious, we'll make a nod to it, like we're reacting to footage and suddenly my beard's like twice as long, and in the end of the reaction I'll just be like, yeah, that was cool, and I'll just like walk off, just like do something stupid like that, because continuity is not that important, but it's just fun.
Yeah.
It's fun to be able to work on videos and build them in pieces over time, and that's something I've never done before.
Yeah.
That's like in the last year I've started doing that.
Yeah.
What's like the longest gap of time between like 2 pickup shots?
Probably a year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And because it was a year, it was like the same seasons and the place looked the same, and it was like almost seamless.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like
incredible.
for continuity, like for your stuff, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But like for someone like Mr. Beast, where he's doing like a 24-hour challenge, like he can't like film half the challenge, then film the other half of it. Like
A year later,
like, and he's wearing different clothes and he's got different haircut and all that. But speaking of ideas, I want to go back to ideas. Is there anything that this is something that I'm just curious about. Is there any idea that you've had that is maybe too expensive or too difficult that you wanted to capture that just didn't happen?
There are some that I've really wanted to do for a long time, but I just haven't been able to. I want to film like a rocket launch of some sort,
Ooh.
or like a SpaceX launch or something cool.
Yeah.
But having a foreign passport makes it really difficult to get anywhere near those.
Yeah.
But in terms of like some of our own ones, we've abandoned ideas just feeling like they're too dangerous. Like a lot of the time, well, like 90% of the time, it's just me and Dan filming. And if I feel like we can't do it safely with just 2 people, we just won't do it.
Yeah.
Whereas if we get like a big sponsored budget and we hire a full crew, we'll just like hire a medic and
Yeah.
we can tackle, trying to deflect a bullet with C4 or something like that, which we'd just never be able to do on our own. But yeah, I feel like having done it for so long, a lot of the things on my bucket list of filming have been filmed.
What has been your favorite so far?
That's a really good question. Because it's really
You've
hard to
done so
remember
many.
everything you've done.
Yeah. I mean, 13 years of it, I'd imagine there's just so many choices.
I could say one of my favorites.
Go for it.
It was that Oobleck like balloon thing. I forget what it was. Was it Oobleck?
We've done a few Oobleck related ones.
Y'all like shot a baseball out of a cannon. I don't remember what it was. I'm like trying to remember my childhood right now because the video came out a long time ago. But
That might have been like a backyard scientist video, or Destin from Smart Every Day had like a baseball cannon.
maybe
I mean,
I gotta look now.
The one that comes to my mind is I think it's when you threw a ball at Dan's face. I think
I do that every 5 years.
It's every 5 year.
That's one that we revisit just to get slower and slower.
Has he done it to you, or is he like the guy that can do all the stunts?
We used to like even it out a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
But he just got too nervous with the trigger. Like he missed a few triggers,
Okay.
so we like didn't have the shot, and then
Oh,
it just
so-
became we just like fell into our roles of just like I'll take care of the button.
He's the
Just
stunt man and you're the
Yeah.
button guy. That
Like
is
we did a video
incredible.
where he set his hand on fire
Oh,
with
wow.
like suds full of butane or something. So like you
Yeah.
used to get like soapy water, put flammable gas inside, and then you get little bubbles on your hand. And he lit his hand and slapped me in the face, and then like didn't hit the button. And I was like, let's try and let's try and get this because that hurt. That was hot. That was painful.
Yeah. Jeez.
I mean, is that kind of like, is it because it's kind of difficult filming with just 2 people?
I mean, it's difficult in some ways, but it's also very efficient in other ways. Like we can, and because I edit them too, we don't have to bother like filming in a way that would make sense for an editor. I'm just editing in my head as we shoot, so it's just like plop the camera there, blah 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 blah. It's just very quick. Like the more people we've added, this it just kind of slows everything down.
Oh, interesting. No pun intended.
So you guys are just like a 2-band crew,
Yeah,
pretty much. It's just
Typically, yeah.
you guys film everything, you edit everything. Sometimes I know you guys hire people to help with
yeah,
certain things, but like for the most part, it's y'all are doing everything.
yeah, and it just means it's like entirely on our schedule. We don't really have to worry about anything apart from, like sometimes we'll wake up ready to shoot, and if we were filming for a long time the day before, we'll just be like, you want to just play video games until noon and then we'll do it. And it's like, yeah. And then we don't have to like let anyone know. We just get on with it when we want.
Yeah, that's
That's
kind of
beautiful.
nice. All right, we have call times now.
Yeah.
We got an HR department.
Yeah.
It's fun stuff.
Well, you've done it, properly.
Yeah, but it's just like
You've done
you
it in
know,
a way that
but
makes business sense.
But sometimes I do wish, like, I really do miss those old days where I'm just wake up in the morning and like, and I have to do everything myself, and it kind of sucks. Like now we have teams of people that do everything, and I just have to be me on camera. But like, I do miss those old days where it's like, oh, we gotta set this up. Oh, we gotta like, just do everything. Like,
Yeah.
those were like some of the funnest times, even though in the moment I was like, man, I wish we had a production assistant that could help me set this up. That would be so nice. But like,
Yeah.
when you look back, it's like some of the greatest times.
Yeah, I always think about that when it's like this, we're like out in the quarry and the sun is setting and we're just like sweeping up a bunch of like exploded fish tank, and it's like, yeah, someone else would be really handy right now. But looking back on it, those are like good times for bonding, and we like play some music and stuff, and
Yeah.
it's still fun, even the off camera stuff.
Yeah.
So no desire to hire any like editors, assistants, anything like that.
I don't think so. I mean, an editor is probably the first hire that any creator should make, right? It just makes sense. But I just still really like doing that. And yeah, and I just film like a weirdo. Like I've got like, well, in my head, I know I'm pulling from a folder from June and from, the end of September into this timeline. And I don't have to talk to anyone about it. It's just like I'm making it for me, which is, there's efficiency there. But I just don't really like giving notes on other people's edits. I just sometimes, like, because I've had to do that for YouTube originals and things because I don't edit those. And sometimes I'm like 4 minutes in and it's like, I've given like 15 notes already. Like, just give me the timeline. I'll just do it. It'll be way quicker.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I still enjoy that.
We give notes quite a bit.
Yeah. Our we did a recent video. I think it was like a 12-minute final cut, and it was like 120 notes
Wow. Yeah.
on 12-minute video. We
That's a lot.
go hard. we actually like, I try to like up my record every time. So maybe the next video will be like 130 notes. There'll be like
The editor
40,
gets the thing.
there'll be like
Oh.
there'll be like 42 notes of like change the music. But like
But with the slow-mo videos, they're just so simple.
Yeah, assembly-wise, they're simple.
Yeah. How
But
long does it take for you to do a full edit?
It really depends on how much coverage, like how many slow-mo shots I took. Like a lot of the time it'll be like, we're blowing up this thing. We've got one of it. There'll be one phantom shot. Or it'll be, we're trying to collide 3 paintballs in the air. And I might have like 50 phantom shots. And so those ones will take me way longer. And then the sound design that I put on is like the longest part of the edit.
And you do all the sound design yourself.
Yeah, unless I really don't have time, and then I have this other guy called Daniel who helps us out sometimes, and I can just send him stuff for sound. But it'll still be an edit I did, and he'll do sound.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I enjoy that too. It's quite a burden. Like I find myself really having to be in the mood to do that. Like I can wake up and be like, I really need to upload tomorrow, but I still just like won't feel like working on it until like 5 p.m. or like 10 p.m. and I'll be like, oh. And then I'll just start doing it then. Like I really like want to procrastinate as much as possible when it comes to sound, because that's the worst thing to rush for me. Like as soon as I start being lazy, if I just be like, I'll just reuse that there, and even though it doesn't fit, I'll be like, all right, I'm not doing this now.
yeah.
I need to take a break and put the time in properly.
Because if you rush it and then you look back on it again, it bothers me when I do that. I rush.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll rush like sound design. I'll be like, okay, I'll upload it. I'll look back at the video 2 weeks later, like this sucks. Like, this is
I
awful.
really don't like having videos on the channel that I don't want to watch. And if I don't want to watch them, it's probably because I was in a rush.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I wish I was prouder of that.
Yep.
There's only a few where I've done that, usually because it's just had a ton going on in the same week, and just I have another job too. But yeah, thankfully having never had an upload schedule, I've just always taken the time.
No upload
That's-
schedule.
That is crazy, dude.
Yeah,
That is
I've never had
crazy.
like a day for uploads or a time or anything.
Wow.
And you've been doing YouTube for 13 years.
Yeah. Well, yeah, actually, yeah.
YouTube
That's
for 13 years, you've never had an upload schedule. That's
All good thumbnails.
no, it's amazing though. It's just like it's just this is one of the things I just love about YouTube. It's just like every creator just does
things. So
I
differently.
also rarely look at analytics.
like
Oh, that's
They really bum me out.
oh really? Yeah. Like you purposely don't want to look at them.
Yeah, most of the time I'm just like, I just don't know what this is doing for me. I'm just gonna look for patterns and stuff that doesn't really matter a lot of the time. Like it makes sense if you have an upload schedule to be like, well, here's when all my viewers are online. I've just never operated that way, and
You don't look
Something
at like
about-
retention and stuff like that.
no. And something about seeing like you upload a video and it's like 10 of 10 in terms of
Oh,
performance. I'm just
dude,
like,
that's-
that's the worst thing in the back end.
that's the
I
most
don't ever want to see that.
We had one of those recently.
that's the most depressing thing.
I
dude.
just try and I look at it on like the public view page and I just like eyeball it. I'm like, yeah, that's probably a 10, but I'm not gonna go.
So you really don't look at like retention, CTR, none of those things.
No, I mean I have done for like if a sponsor needs information, I'll have a little gander in there. But no, I
never
don't,
like.
I just don't want that to
scientifically-
be why I'm making decisions. Just because I want to keep it like focused on the things that I enjoy filming.
I love that.
Once again, terrible business decision.
Well, clearly not of how successful you are.
I think it's just it's successful because it's been going on a long time. But I know I could have been. I do look at the channel and think this could have been like a seriously big channel if I'd done it properly, like YouTube recommends. You know.
Yeah.
But I do think I wouldn't be doing it as long.
Well, what's a big channel in your eyes? Because you're at 15 million subscribers.
I'm talking like top 10.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's like in the 150 million.
Yeah, I'm
Subscriber
not up
range.
to date on how big channels are, but yeah, like let's just say like 20 million and above.
Okay.
So
Oh, doable. You're almost there. You're 5 million subscribers away.
I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to like 13 years in, make some changes, like try and be more regular and be a better YouTuber. Because in the past, it's never been my priority to have like the money side of it as the priority.
Has there been a desire lately to kind of just play the algorithm?
No.
Just make good videos?
Yeah, I'm just like happy with if I just get good slow-mo. Like if I'm looking at the back of the Phantom, I'm like, oh, that's a good one. That's what I want from it.
Yeah.
And that usually is reflected in the views. Typically.
Yeah, we talked about this the other day. Like, I think what you're kind of mentioning is just your reaction to the slow-mo is really authentic, and we see that in the video. And we talked about this the other day, just authenticity really shows.
Yeah.
And I think that's why a lot of people are successful. If you're more authentic, I think the better your videos are going to be.
Yeah, I actually like sometimes we'll do an experiment and Dan will just like walk around to where I am. And if I'm like saving the clip and I get like a glance of some cool frames, I'll be like, don't look. I'll like stop him from looking while I save it. And I'll be like, we're going to have real reactions. And that was actually a tough part of doing some YouTube originals because we had like a big crew. And there were times where they like wouldn't get our original reaction. They were either like, it was out of focus or they weren't rolling yet or something. And they would be like, can you just do that reaction again? And I would just have to be like, I'm really sorry, we can't. Like, I can't have a real reaction again. Like, we're not actors or anything. It would just be really cringy, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I would just have to say, like, no, just make sure you get it. And we would always just wait and be like, is everyone rolling? Okay, now we're going to react for the one and only time.
Yeah.
Just because I hate having to do, like, pickups of the one small, authentic moment of the video.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's great because like you guys on the channel are just you. And like it's hard for people to compete with that. Like y'all are just being yourselves. And like when it comes to a point where you like, you don't look at retention, you don't look at the analytics. I think that's just you being your authentic self. You're like, I just want to capture the best slow-mo possible and share it with my audience. And ultimately, if you look at your channel as a whole, that is the most important part, is capturing the coolest slow-mo, right? So that's your only focus. And then everything else falls
Yeah,
priority behind that.
And I think you're right about that because there's nothing in the analytics that are like going to tell me the next good slow-mo. And I just feel like that's what I should be focused on. But
Yeah.
like, do you often do you really look closely at analytics and go into it?
We look pretty closely. The biggest thing we look at is just retention and CTR. So, hey, how was the retention on this video? The biggest thing for us is actually some of our, and your channel I feel like is kind of the same way, but some of our best ideas naturally have the best retention.
Right.
And they're the ones that get the most most views. Normally when we're looking at retention, we're just kind of looking for, hey, did we have a steep drop-off point? And why did we have a steep drop-off point? And can we fix it in the next video? And if we find something that has a steep drop-off point, we'll kind of like analyze. We're like, okay, did we get off topic? Did we like talk about this thing for way too long and everyone's bored? And, you know,
So you're basically just using it to like fine tune future videos. And
Yeah.
yep. Yeah. So we'll see that and we'll be like, okay, that's noted. We won't do that again. Or if we do it, we'll do it in a different way that might work. So yeah, I mean, to your point, that's 100% right. Retention's not going to tell you your next great idea. Retention doesn't tell us our next idea. It just
But
tells us.
it may tell you,
Yeah.
you know, things that should happen in the edit.
Mm-hmm.
But that's like secondary to the idea.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, I think that's just what YouTube's all about, is just like great ideas. And that's why I'm so obsessed with y'all's channel, because like the whole channel is just such a good idea. It really is. Like, you know, just filming things in slow motion.
There's all just like, it almost feels like infinite possibility. Like you could just put anything in slow-mo.
I like, a lot of people ask like how long I want to be doing it, because I've been using high-speed cameras for like almost 20 years. But I don't really see myself running out of ideas. It's just like, do I want to be 45 doing it? And like, will there still people be watching, you know?
Yeah.
It just feels a bit weird to be like, I really can't do this forever, but I kind of would do it if it was acceptable. If the audience was still there, I probably would just keep doing it.
I think you could, because I think there's so many different things to film.
But it is just so weird, like watching yourself age online in the same place.
I'm telling you, it's a time capsule.
Yeah.
You just have your whole life recorded in slow-mo.
There was a time like 5 years in where I would look back on old videos and be like, yeah, you know, I look pretty much the same. But like post-pandemic, I look back and I'm like, I was young. Look at all my hair.
I was doing some research yesterday, just going through the channel. Dude, you look exactly the same. Like it just throughout. Like I was like, this guy's got a young face. So hopefully those gray hairs go back and to their normal color.
Yeah,
after
maybe.
that statement.
You can feel the brown returning.
Going back to you talking about how you didn't like seeing 10 out of 10 videos. Has there ever been an idea that you were just so excited about, and then you filmed it, you edited it, you posted it, and it just terrible?
Yeah, there's like, I've had the disappointment of that, but I've never really been too surprised. Like
Okay.
I did a video where I explained how, like some of them I just do like solo and I just do like educational ones. So I filmed inside a film camera to show how the mechanical shutter like spins and then the film gets like pulled down by a claw by one frame. And I just thought that was cool. But it's pretty niche, and there's not a lot of people who care about film cameras, like 8mm film cameras and stuff. So I knew it was going to be a 10 of 10. And it was a little bit sad, but it's like...
It always is.
But I still found it worth making. And the comments were amazing on that, because it was like all really enthusiastic people about that thing. It wasn't a mainstream video that people were just stumbling across. It was like people searching for it. This is after it's been out a few months. Or people who have, you know, already subscribed and actually have an active interest in that kind of thing. But yeah, it wasn't one for the passerby, that one really.
I think that's good, because like for that video, for example, you're harnessing a very powerful audience. You're harnessing an audience that is very obsessed with that type of camera and how it operates. Whereas most creators and a lot of people are just obsessed with just getting more views, but they don't realize that like it's not necessarily about getting 1 million views. It's about who are those 1 million people that are watching your video. Like if 80% of that 1 million people are super engaged with what you're talking about and what you're showing them, that's really good. Whereas if only 100,000 people are engaged and the other 900,000 people are just like, I won't come back next time. You know, like those, like I get that video might have been a 10 out of 10, but you probably made some like fans for life from that video.
Yeah, I would hope so.
So
Have you explained the whole 10 out? Like, do you think the audience knows what we're talking about?
So this podcast is like
Hopefully.
dedicated for creators. So if they don't know what the 1 to 10 out of process is,
a 10 out of 10 is basically it's the worst video you've uploaded out of your last 10 uploads.
Yeah.
you're striving for that 1 out of 10 because it has a little confetti animation, whatever you call it. And that brings you the biggest dopamine rush ever.
Dude, it hits so hard. It's like the strongest drug on planet Earth, I swear.
Like even me, like as someone who's like not typically playing for views, I still have that exact same excitement. When you see 1 of 10, it's like, wow, what a feeling.
They celebrate you.
Yeah.
YouTube celebrates you for that. It's so good.
So we got one more really good question to close it out here. If you woke up one day and all of your channels were reset to 0, what would you guys do to get back up to 10 million subscribers? What would be your strategy? What would be your ideas? I'm assuming you would just do slow-mo, but what do you like? What's the first thing you're going after? How are you getting back up to 10 million subs from 0?
Yeah, I would have to make the most of my experience and equipment. So I think I'd be straight down the old. Do you know my first channel idea wasn't the slow-mo guys. It was basically Dude Perfect. Like we tried a bunch of trick shot videos, but I couldn't get any of my friends to pay attention for long enough. Like we'd be there for like an hour trying to make this insane shot, and everyone would be like, I'm bored, I'm going home, and I'd be like, and that was the whole reason I was like, I'm just gonna have to use the high-speed cameras.
Wow.
And Dan is actually in. I've never put this up. Maybe I should make like a second channel video about my first channel idea. But yeah, it's a lot of footage of like me and Dan and some other friends just trying to, me being really enthusiastic, like, come on guys, we could do this, and everyone else being like, fancy a takeaway or Chinese food?
In another universe, you are Dude Perfect, pretty much.
That's crazy.
Kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Yeah, I just really like the idea of just pulling off. Well, the idea was that we would be really casual about it, though. Like, I feel like How Ridiculous and Dude Perfect, they celebrate a good, insane shot that they've been working on for 8 hours.
Yeah.
But my
and
idea
you
was just to be like,
yeah.
it would just like swoosh in the hoop from 800 meters away, and would just be like,
Nice.
really casual about it. It's
Yeah.
like kind of like a really cringy,
Slowly walk off set, like, cool.
yeah, like a really cringy like 2009 idea. But that was the original idea for my channel.
I feel like people do that now. You should totally hop on that.
Just like 2023, just start our own
Just start
Dude
off the most random Dude Perfect channel, and then you can also do a super fast guys channel.
Yeah,
So just speed everything up.
I think I did register fast mode guys at one point, and I was gonna do time lapse, but I just didn't want to spread myself
That's
too thin.
funny. That's funny. I love
Fast
that.
mo guys. That's,
Yeah,
that's
not a good
incredible.
name. Neither's the slow mo guys. Also not a good name, but
It's
at least you
iconic.
know what you're getting.
Slow mo guys is iconic. You originally, I remember seeing the behind the scenes clip, and you said slow mo dudes.
Yeah, I think we went through like slow mo bros, slow mo dudes, slow idiots at one point, and we're just like slow mo guys.
Yeah. But
Easier.
to back up to 10 million subs, you think you would just go after slow mo because
I think I would.
It's what you know.
It's what I know and it's what I love.
Yeah.
So I think I've got the best chance at it.
I think
And
that's
I like playing video games too. Like I've got a lot of gaming videos out there on other channels like Rooster Teeth, but I'm not good at games.
Yeah.
So I can't really.
but that's smart though, because you're not pretending to be someone that you're not, right? Like you're not going to go after video games. You're not going to go after the trendy thing. You're just going to do what you know you're good at, and that ultimately is going to help you set yourself apart from other people. Because I feel like a lot of creators, like they see people doing a trend and they're like, oh, I have to hop on that and I got to do that or else my channel's going to die, when in reality they're not really fit for it and they don't really know what they're talking about.
But,
Whereas-
but in a way, I mean, there's downsides to that for sure, but there's also benefits in just like taking all these little leaps outside of your comfort zone
Yeah,
and potentially
definitely.
like getting a new skill or like learning something that you can apply to the stuff you are good at.
Definitely. Yeah, but I'm more saying like you're kind of saying you're not going to pretend like you enjoy video games just to grow.
Right.
You're like, nah, I'm just going to stick with what I know, but also what I really, really love, which is slow-mo stuff.
Yeah, and I think if I did go back in time and start it again, I wouldn't do it too differently. I'd probably just focus more time on it, and I would try and convince Dan to just do it full time instead of immediately joining the army, which is what he did when we first started.
Yeah.
And I moved to a different country. So I probably would hit it harder and treat it more like I'm treating it now that I have more time to work on it. So yeah, I'd probably maybe just believe in it a little bit more.
Would you take advantage
Love
of short form?
Well, like shorts and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've started doing a few of those.
How do you like short form compared to like what you're doing now?
I feel like y'all's stuff in shorts could go so big.
Well, I feel like there's a ton of stuff that I would have made as full videos 10 years ago. But now they're not necessarily at the standard that we've, raised our bar to. And I think shorts are perfect for that.
Yeah.
Like I just did one the other day where I just I watched a video where Jay's 2 cents just put a PC fan on the end of a leaf blower and it exploded. Like he was just trying to do something funny with a PC, like cool it with a leaf blower, and the fan exploded. And like 10 years ago, that would have been a whole slow-mo guys video of just being like, yeah, look how fast can we spin this fan. But now I just can't stretch that over any amount of minutes. So I just made it into a short, and yeah, people really liked it. And it's just like it's a perfect place to put more spontaneous, but not really fully fleshed out ideas, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a
I like
perfect
that.
opportunity to capitalize on. So
Sweet. That's about all we had. So thank you so much.
Thanks
This
for having me on.
This
that
was
was
super
fun.
exciting.
That was fun.
But we'll definitely be looking out for your next video. And
Hopefully we'll get you back here, chat more. Wish we had more time, but you guys do have another video or
true.
more scenes to go get at.
back
so.
to filming we
Back
go.
to filming.
Well, I don't live too far away, so I can always come back.
True.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll come over to good old Austin, Texas.
Yeah. Do it.
All right.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.